Hi guys, Victoria Montano.
I'm Chrissy Marsh.
And I'm Nicole O'Neill.
And today on At Home with Victoria, Chrissy and Nicole, we are going to do a little bit of cooking and a lot of talking around the concept of cooking through the generations.
Or basically how to teach your kids to cook.
No, and also what recipes that you
down
from your grandparents and your mothers and fathers and recipes through the family.
Heat, get out of the kitchen.
I know, I think
You
Victoria's
can't stand that. I'm so hot. I'm going to
so
start
hot.
quickly while we talk
What are we
olive
making?
oil. We are making an appropriated dish. So my grandmother taught me a classic Greek stuffed tomato.
And it can be Italian as well.
It can be Italian.
Can be
And
Lebanese?
today I'm doing a Lebanese version.
Ooh.
So I'm using the basis of what she taught me and I'm just changing a little bit.
And she's Lebanese it.
I'm Lebanese it. So I'm going to put
We all know that the Lebanese cooking.
Look
onion
how
here.
beautifully that's chopped. And look, already, so we've saved time. Basically, slice the top of them, super easy. Scoop around with a spoon so that you have your tomatoes already ready to go.
And what do you do with the inside? You use it for a pasta sauce?
Yeah, so I keep the insides of the tomatoes, I blend it and use it for a pasta sauce. So nothing goes to waste.
And
Love that.
also, these tomatoes do really well with the tomato-based sauce as well.
Yeah, you can make this saucier. I just wanted to do this recipe today with a yogurt and tahini dressing. So I wanted the tomato inside to be a little bit drier, otherwise it kind of all falls apart and gets too saucy if you go saucy on two levels. So those onions are sweating off there.
Perfect, looking beautiful. What have we got next? Some garlic?
We are going to just turn the heat
Now,
up a
would you
bit.
do this as a side dish, as a main meal?
Look, I think that this is a really nice, simple main meal.
It's an easy weeknight dinner.
Yeah, it's a weeknight dinner. This is not...
And it's a dish that you can serve when you're having a dinner party.
And it's a dish you can prepare earlier.
Yes, and you know what else?
You can compare this the night before.
This is it. You don't have to just stuff tomatoes. We stuff zucchinis.
Yeah.
We stuff potatoes.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
We
Stuffing
stuff
a potato,
eggplant,
yum.
capsicum.
Gee, you're
and-
stuffing everything, Cole. What about Adam?
So that was 1 onion and 2
You
cloves of
always
garlic.
have to go there.
Because I just love it. It just unsettles you.
This is beef mince, just because it was the organic one that I could grab. You can do lamb, you can do chicken, you can do even turkey if you wanted to.
Any sort of protein.
Any sort
Fish.
of, as long as it's
Never stuff a tomato with fish.
No.
Not fish.
I'm not vibing the fish.
Okay, I can do that for you whilst you get something
Can
else
you?
happening.
Do that.
I would always do this with a wooden spoon.
I'm
you
just
like a
I'm
spatula?
Nick, why don't you do this?
What can I do?
This is beautiful.
We all know I'm the one who can cook here.
Correct.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Second best
Believe
cook
it.
here.
You
So we're
believe
going to do
it.
yogurt, tahini,
feeling
lemon
bullied.
juice.
Okay. So do you want me to mix it in this bowl or?
I just want you to mix it in that
I
little
could
bowl
turn around
there.
and say, I'm
Okay.
the one with the cookbook.
Or make it in here?
No, because it's too much yogurt.
Oh,
so
okay.
I think just
Yeah.
start, let's see, and taste it
Right.
as we go.
Oh,
how
salt
much
and
yogurt.
pepper in this.
I'm
So
about to put,
close.
Here we have a very simple, plain Greek yogurt. We've got some tahini.
putting
I
salt.
love.
Lots
So
of salt.
tahini is the paste of, it's made from sesame seeds. And you have hulled and unhulled. Hulled means that the skin of the sesame seed has been taken off. And unhulled
And I'm
means
putting
that the skin
baharat,
has remained on. So you get a bit more of a
2.5 tablespoons heat.
smoky flavour. And then we have some lemon juice. So here we go. And this is basically made to taste.
Okay, so can I interject here? I've done salt, I've done baharat in this, and I did whisper it to the camera.
Love it. Look
Chrissy,
at the colour.
look at
It's
the colour
forgiven.
of that.
That is absolutely
Now I'm going
delicious.
to pop in there some golden raisins. I just think that the brown ones are too brown with the mince, but that's just,
Could you like to know what you're biting into?
personal
Wow.
preference.
Yum.
I'm going to put some slivered almonds in.
Slivered almonds are so underrated. I love
walnuts.
them with everything. I put slivered almonds on my salads. I put them on my coleslaws. I love slivered almonds. pasta salad.
I have pre-cooked this rice. I don't need to teach you guys how to cook rice.
What sort of rice is it?
This is jasmine only because it's all that I had, but you really can use.
Basmati, anything
Exactly.
you have.
The Lebanese rice has some vermicelli noodles through it. Just to add a bit more texture.
Yeah, I do love that, and loaded with butter. The Lebanese make their rice with so much butter.
Okay, and then I'm going to put some
Lemon juice.
coriander.
Oh, wow. This is, I could just eat that on its own
And
in
you
a lettuce cup.
and you can.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to retain a little bit of that
This
coriander
is sticking a bit. I might
for
need to
when
go
we
down a bit on the heat.
down a
But
bit.
you
on-
want to keep this mixture quite dry, don't you, Victoria?
Yep.
You don't
You
want
just
it
keep-
too moist for when it goes into
No,
the...
it's because it's going to cook again in the oven.
Yeah. So that would be done. That's all mixed
That is totally
through
done. I've
nicely.
actually turned that off.
Okay.
Can I
Is
try
there a
this?
trick to stuffing your tomato? Is there a trick
So
to...
that is the taste of Lebanon for me. Don't you think?
Tahini.
Oh my God, it's delicious.
Okay, so are we going to... Is there a trick? I need that spoon to stuff
Take it.
these, don't I?
Yep, let me just move this.
Okay, so do you trust me to do this on my own?
I trust you. Wait, let me get back in. I trust you. Come on. It's the
Okay.
first time for
So are we going
everything.
to compress it hard?
Yes.
Because you want to get as much in there as you can.
Let me put this
So you
here
want
for
to sort
you.
of push it down. Oh, this is delicious. Now, do you want to overstuff or understuff,
No,
Victoria?
over.
Over.
Because they're
You
not
want
so...
the top as a little cap.
Yeah, so that's perfect.
Perfect. Okay.
Let me just drizzle a bit of olive oil on the...
So
on this
another
tip.
variation of this dish is to use walnuts, and is also to use a pomegranate molasses, which will give it a sweet sour flavour. But there are so many different variations to this. And a vegetarian version, you would omit the meat, and you might use some finely chopped mushrooms,
Exactly. Or
Beautiful.
finely chopped capsicums. Finely
Zucchinis.
chopped zucchinis,
cabbage.
cabbage. So it's great with whatever you have in the fridge at home.
Yeah, definitely. And you know, these things, like as you said, you could make this a couple of
Yeah.
days before. Although with rice, I think rice.
So I've
rice
done
you
it.
shouldn't
I've
do
done
a
it the
couple of
day
days.
before. I've made this the day before, and honestly, it was perfect reheated. But if you make it the day before, you obviously don't cook it till finish. So I would make them as they are now. I would leave them like
Put
this
them in the fridge.
and then I would put them in the oven the next day. Before
That's a big
serving.
thing with rice, which I've only learned recently. You really can't leave rice other than about 2 days.
Yeah.
Because it forms a mold. So it's super important that you consume rice within 2 days of cooking it.
But also, they say it's very good to cook
Bit
the
too
rice and then
much.
chill
Too
it
much.
because it lowers the glycemic
there we go.
index.
Oh,
Yes.
that'd be good for any
Yeah.
diabetics around the world.
Well, for anyone.
It's true. Me being a celiac, but that's what's great about this dish for me. This is something that all celiacs can eat.
and it's delicious.
Yeah.
you know.
So everything here is gluten-free if people are trying to
And you
avoid.
can even take
gluten.
away the rice if you're obsessed with carbs. You know, you could
If
do
you
the
really
whole
want
thing
that
minced.
protein hit.
You know,
exactly.
you could do the whole
Yeah,
thing
That's
minced.
great. Delicious. Okay.
Okay, lid goes
So I
on.
would
And I think
actually,
that's the
I'd do a
thing about-
minimum of 2 per person with this
I'm just doing one because
because you're trying to keep us like.
we're on a
fit and
we're,
healthy.
because we're on a show. Okay,
Yeah,
doing
okay.
one.
I just want to try this on its own because it
Might
dying
need
to.
salt. Tell me if it's nice. 'Cause I didn't. Can I try?
I'm going to slob it all on that spoon.
Right.
That's good. Really good.
Fantastic flavors and baharat.
And so the tomatoes will be what, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, high oven? What do you
I like
think?
to cook everything on 250.
You
so
just
I-
cook the shit out of it quickly. That's
Yeah.
you. No
Like-
time, no patience.
No time, no patience.
Yeah,
I'm going to
get it
do
happening.
these for
250
about
for 10 minutes.
10 minutes, 250.
Okay, great.
I'm feeling a bit thirsty, Victoria.
Okay, I'll go and get that bottle of
Can you get the
Bollinger that I
champagne?
saw before, girls. Oh, sorry, Victoria. This isn't turning into that sort of show. I'm sorry. We just get a little bit
This show
carried away.
is called Stuffed Tomatoes.
Stuff my tomato, not my cherry. Okay, so
Okay, but
Nicole
we're-
doesn't talk that sort of talk.
But
If
guys,
anyone watched Real Housewives, not that we're allowed to mention it, Nicole didn't want to talk about underwear. So it was very good. Beavers, I like that. If you want to see a beaver, go to National Geographic.
that was funny,
That's what
Nick.
you keep me on point. I love that. This is a bottle I opened earlier. Just waiting on a glass.
Can we get 3 glasses?
I'd be happy with a kombucha.
Oh my gosh, that is seriously really good.
So
You don't put a lot of pepper in things, do you?
I just kind of forget
I
about
go mad on
pepper.
pepper.
So this is one I prepared earlier. And the beauty of these stuffed vegetables is how imperfect they are. So if you go to Greece or Lebanon, they will bring out a platter and they all look like this, Chrissy.
They all look different.
They all look different.
I have been to Lebanon, never. I have been to Greece, so I have seen a tomato.
Yeah. No,
I
but
do get out of the eastern suburbs
there's some
occasionally.
glasses there.
Perfect.
I'm just going to pop these on a plate for serving.
This is one thing I must say that you do really, really well. You elevate everything you do with just that little simple bit extra. And I love that. I think that that's a really great thing that you have in terms of your presentation of your food. So, you know, obviously serving these look a bit sad. And then all of a sudden you're gonna move them, and you're serving these just at room temperature. That, you know,
These are just out of the oven.
perfect. Loving this. Let me pour us the champagne. Are you going to serve this with rocket? Are you going to serve it with a bit of green? I always love a bit of green as well.
Would do very well with a nice tabbouleh.
Would be beautiful
Yes,
with a
would be.
tabbouleh.
Salad.
Or even just some spinach.
And
green
now
spinach.
I'm going to go back to what Nicole made before, and I'm going to add some more yogurt to it, just for this last part.
To drizzle.
So I think this dish,
You might even need a bit of water.
for a lot of people, this dish might be a little bit daunting to make, scooping out the tomatoes, doing all that. If I was teaching someone to cook, and especially my kids, I'd love to know your thoughts. Like, I would have possibly 3 dishes. Oh, you've already got one, Nicole. I've got one for
No,
another
that's
friend.
kombucha.
Oh, a kombucha, of course you do. There's a champagne.
I couldn't find a
dish,
glass.
Kombucha. Now that's looking beautiful, and you've got some basil to.
No, this is the coriander.
The coriander. Beautiful. Just sprinkle over the top. So 1 per person. Perfect.
You're
eating.
very stuck on the one person.
She's very hungry.
I feel like I'm on rations now. Now that I've tasted how good it is. Okay, so what would you cook, or what have you cooked that's been passed down through generations, or that you just, I think, a basic dish
Guys,
for
can
your
we
kids to
save
cook?
it for the table?
Okay, sorry.
Come on, let's go.
Let's go.
Here they are.
Okay.
An appropriated version of my grandmother, Thais Chrysanopoulos, her stuffed tomatoes. Guys, I have had so much fun today showing the girls a version of my grandmother's stuffed tomatoes. Chrissy, you are teaching your kids to cook all the time.
I am, and I think, you know, the basics to teach kids is super important, that they can whip up a meal.
Yeah,
And
I think every child should
Yes,
learn
they
to
should
cook.
be able to
Everyone.
cook a steak. They should be able to make bacon and eggs. They should be able to make breakfast. I had them cooking and cutting up fruit salad for me in China when Milana was only 6. So I don't think there's any age that you sort of say they have to. And also a pasta. I think a basic pasta recipe
An
that they
omelette?
can adapt. Yes.
Omelets
Yep.
are great.
That's a great thing to teach kids.
Yeah.
And then anything with eggs, they can, you know,
Protein. It's
put
great
it with a
protein.
piece of salmon and the bagel, and all of a sudden it looks fancy.
What did you learn to cook from your mother or your grandmother?
Look, my mum was a really, she had 4 girls. Her mother died when she was super young. So mum had a lot of basics, but she made a tuna pasta, which we all still make today.
That's nice.
And it's a really easy, simple dish. It's almost like a tuna mornay. So I love the fact that regardless of, you know, what style of cook you were, mum was very much a home cook. And, you know, I think now no one's got any excuse. They can learn, you know, every which way. It's just practice. So I think that's the biggest thing, is getting them in the kitchen and, you know, really naming and shaming if they can't cook something and they're into their teens.
Nick?
I learned to bake from my grandmother. I learned, I'd go over and spend weekends with her and she'd teach me to bake. Swedes are
Big
amazing
bakers?
bakers. And then a lot of recipes got passed down from my dad's mother to my mum, who was...
I've had a lot of those recipes
Yes.
given to me through Judy
Yes.
Gazelle. and I still make them today. And
Yeah.
they're all handwritten.
Yeah, so the hummus, the tabboulehs, you know,
The
every
kibbeh, her
every
kibbeh.
family
Oh my
has
God, I
their
love
versions.
Yes.
But that's the same with the sweets. Like they have their version of a meatball, they have their version of the herrings, the beetroot salads. So I think those traditional recipes on both sides have been handed down through generations, and they're recipes that you sort of are ingrained and you learn without even knowing you're learning them. And they're things that you just, you know, you keep and pass on because they remind me of home.
Yeah. Can I just say something? I really hate fruit mixed in.
But you love this.
This is insane. Like, guys, if you're going to cook anything, I know this did take a little bit of effort because there is a little bit of preparation in it. But, you know, that is just, and unfortunately, it's not something you could freeze. But
Tell me, Victoria, what are recipes that you learnt or that you... No, I think I'm going to rephrase it. What would you pass down to your children
Yeah.
to Xavier and Theodora, what
that
would
have
you...
been passed down to you?
I have to say I'm in a little bit of trouble with my children because I don't think that they are interested in
They're
cooking.
still very young.
But I have taught Xavier how to make eggs.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
He's 11. That's as far as we've got. And Theodora has, at this stage, age of 5, has existed solely on a diet of nuggets, chips and schnitzel.
But you know what you've got to do
I guess
with
I'm
that?
going to be teaching her how to make schnitzel.
You know what you've got to do with that though? It's a really interesting thing. Like, get a bunch of basil, and you know, this is fairy basil from the fairy garden. We're going to pick it up.
I've done it all.
She doesn't want to do
So
it.
it was just so interesting because Xavier was totally the opposite. He was born, I could shove an octopus leg in his hand and he'd gnaw on the octopus. Still to this day, eats oysters, eats prawns. All kids are different. But I mean, I think I'm really looking forward to passing down, you know, just like my favorite things like ragu, pesto sauce, the squeeze of
Pastas.
lemon. Just pastas I think are so easy. All this Mediterranean cuisine.
This is delicious. And you know what? I'm going to have sufficient on one, Victoria.
I told you one's enough.
It's very filling.
Very
Yeah,
filling.
with
You've
the
got the
rice
rice,
and
It's
the
a beautiful
meat.
combination of carbohydrates, protein,
It is
vegetables.
absolutely
it's
delicious.
a complete meal, really.
Anyway, Nick, enough about food.
Okay, back to our
Okay,
questions. So, you've asked, we're answering.
We have put up on our Instagram a little portal that you can ask us any question you want.
Okay.
We've had some real crazy ones.
doozies,
We've had
that's
to
for sure.
sift
Okay.
through. You guys are all a bit scared.
So, this is the question. What is your favourite way to treat yourself?
Look, my favourite way to treat myself is an absolute no-brainer. I go to the foot massage place at Bondi Junction and I go in there and get a Chinese hard foot massage, and it is absolute guilty pleasure.
Yeah.
And if I don't go at least twice a week, I go there a lot. Massages for days. It's after living in China. I'm addicted.
It really depends what I'm doing and where I'm at. So I either love a beautiful long walk, a sleep in.
You love a sleep.
I love a sleep in. Or a massage. I do love a massage. I just feel that just to be able to relax.
Oh, me too. I love that.
I
Yeah.
think for me, how I treat myself is a bit different. I'm embarrassed to say this, but it's true. A big treat for me is to just really stuff myself, like totally overeat, overdrink something really tasty. I mean, that for me is like my guilty pleasure.
And a cigarette.
Like, have a cigarette.
To go out to eat or something
Like
that you prepare?
even at home, like even if I'm at home on Thursday with Tim and if he says, do you want to open a bottle of Tignanello, which is our favourite Italian wine, which is a bit of a special wine. Well, he says that, well, you're not going to be having a salad for dinner. Here we go, pasta, you know, and just overeat, or it could be at a
So
restaurant.
indulge.
Indulge.
That's what I like to
that.
do.
Well, here's to indulging. Here's to looking after yourself. Because if we don't give each other that little bit of self-care, that little bit of time, then, you know, you can't be there for the family. You can't
You won't be there to pass down the recipes.
Oh, jeez. I'm not going anywhere, Nicole. Well, cheers to that. My glass
Cheers.
is empty.
And guys,
No, you've got a drop left to cheers.
Okay.
you've got to drop. Guys, keep sending in your questions. We absolutely love them.
We do love them.
Try
We've
to
got
keep,
pages full.
try to keep them clean.
Yeah,
though.
keep them clean. My goodness. I can't even cheers with that one. See you next time.
to you.